Okay guys, I'm not kidding when I tell you that this is probably the most busted build Titans have in Destiny 2. Being able to just insta-kill a champion with one melee ability is fun, but insta-killing two of them one after another is pretty wild, and I'm pretty sure if that unstoppable was actually stopped, he'd be dead too. I mean, just look at the damage we're dealing with this ability to those champions that aren't even stunned. Unstoppables getting obliterated, barriers getting obliterated, overloads not even being able to teleport because they're just insta-killed, and yeah. It's wild. And bear in mind that these are master champions whilst underpowered, and yep, GMs, well, they go boom too. But not only we're dealing an insane amount of damage with our melee, but we're benefiting from other parts of the build too, like having infinite volatile rounds for void weapons, being able to melt champions and bosses when you don't even have a melee, because we'll be debuffing everything anyway, and we're just gonna have constant overshields. It's kinda wild. You know, I've seen some crazy builds in my time, like the Titan Consecration build, that just also pretty much insta-kills but takes out the entire room of adds with it, but yeah. This build just almost guarantees that champion kill if you perform it right. Now don't get me wrong, you won't always be perfect, because two things that will mess you up big are 1. Missing, if that's the case you're kinda effed, and 2. Not having an overshield. With this build we're relying on two things: hitting a champion or mini boss whilst in the air, while also having an overshield. If you can do that, you'll then master this build like the god you are. It's honestly just insane how good this build is. Now do you know what else is good? Being able to spend more time doing what you love most. Why waste time going to the store to get your weekly food shop and figuring out what to cook, when you can just sign up with America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh, and get food delivered right to your doorstep within a week, hassle-free. HelloFresh delivers quality food with more than 50 flavorful recipes to choose from each week that make it easier for you to do the things you enjoy most while still enjoying tasty foods every day. With HelloFresh at your table, not only you'll get all the ingredients needed to cook your meals, but you'll get a foolproof step-by-step walkthrough that explains how to cook the meals that's in organised bags, and all of this can be done in as quick as 20 to 30 minutes regardless of your cooking experience. So click the link in the description or use my code and get 10 free meals plus free appetizers for life, 1 appetizer item per box while subscription is active if you're in the US. Outside the US, the local discount will apply. So guys, check out HelloFresh when you get a second by using a link and code down below to help support the channel so I can continue delivering more awesome content to you thanks to your awesome contributions. A big thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video and for you guys in the audience being purely amazing. Now we all know that Hunters have been dominating builds recently, and with the Prismatic launching with the final shape, they got even stronger. But Warlocks and Titans do have a bunch of builds that can really make an impact as well. So if you like this build and you want to see more top builds like this in Destiny 2 Echoes, as well as other seasons and episodes to come, then be sure to check out my builds playlist down below, or you can find them over on my Mobilytics page. But with this new Titan build today, we're taking the Void subclass and pairing it with the Peregrine Greaves Exotic legs. Now you can use this build with 3 different melee abilities. You got the Solar Hammer Strike, you have the Arc Seismic Strike, and you have the Void Shield Bash. Both the Arc one and the Void one can stun champions. The Arc one stuns Unstoppables, and the Void stuns Overloads. Now put simply, the best one to use is the Void Shield Bash, because this will insta-kill both barriers and Overloads if you actually hit them when it's maxed out. Now although the Arc one can insta-kill Unstoppables and barriers, this can be a lot harder to pull off, because it requires doing multiple things within a set time limit before actually then going in to hit a champion whilst in the air. So the easiest way is to just use Void, give yourself an overshield, and then go in for the melt. Now since we're using the Peregrine Greaves Exotic armor, what this will do is buff our melee's damage, so all shoulder charge abilities deal bonus damage when activated in the air. Damaging mini bosses, tormentors, or champions with the ability will refund the melee. So basically what this means is if you hit any of those enemies listed, you'll get the ability straight back even if you don't actually kill them. But you just have to make sure that you're in the air when hitting them, but also that the ability is actually activated, because sometimes it may take a second to register that you're in the air and off the ground. Now in order to make this melee one hit everything like champions, even on Master and sometimes Grandmaster difficulty, you will want to have the Offensive Bulwark Void aspect, because what this reads is, while you have an overshield or are inside Wall of Dawn, your grenade recharges significantly faster, you have increased melee range and damage, and your melee final blows restore a portion of your overshields and extends its duration. So by having this on and getting a champion kill, you'll get another Void overshield to then insta-kill the next one, and as long as you have that overshield on, you'll deal some serious damage if you use this build the right way. Now to initially get that overshield to begin with, we're going to use the Bastion aspect, which is by far the best and easiest way to get that overshield, because by throwing down a barricade, you'll get an overshield and be able to regenerate it. This does have a 3.5 minute cooldown, but by using mods we can just speed that up a bit, and that will be our primary way of getting the overshield. So as long as you have an overshield and the exotic armor, you'll be able to use this build to insta-kill champions. Now when you're using this build in just any activity, you'd start by using your grenade to kill an enemy, which will give you volatile rounds to void weapons. From here you can just go around melting everything, but because of the way we have this build set up, killing enemies while critically wounded will give us an overshield, and this is happening because of the first fragment, Echo of Vigilance, where defeating a target while your shields are depleted grants a temporary void overshield. This fragment is a must have because it really can help sometimes as a last resort if you have no other ways of getting an overshield quickly, but it can also be quite risky in harder content. But once you do have that overshield, you'll just jump in the air and go for the hit to melt pretty much anything. Just remember though that using this ability on general adds or a proper boss will consume the ability, so you'll only get one hit that way, so it is better to use it on mini bosses and champions instead, but that damage that you are dealing really is packing a punch. Now one thing that really helps this build even further is the Echo of Undermining fragment, because by using this we'll be allowing our void grenades to weaken targets. That is an extra 15% damage debuff being applied to enemies, which makes it a good option for team play when you're just wanting to melt through tough bosses when you might not have a melee charge, or if you're not in the right situation to be able to go in for the melee, so I'll definitely slap that fragment on. And the other two fragments are Echo of Expulsion, so that void ability final blows cause targets to explode, and Echo of Instability, so that defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your void weapons, which is why if you're using this, then you'd want to have a void weapon on. Otherwise you can change this. If you are going to change it, Echo of Salvation is a good alternative to get Devour and grenades faster. The super I'm using is Ward of Dawn just for an extra overshield and a bit of protection, can be quite helpful a lot, and then our weakening grenade is just going to be the Vortex one. In the artifact, there are actually a few really good perks that you ideally must have. The first one is Counter Energy, so that you get energy back for your least charged ability when stunning a champion. Even though we might be insta-killing champions, this is still pretty good to have. We then have this one, so that defeating weakened targets gives a small void overshield. Our third one, so that void sources deal increased damage to weakened targets. And our last one being Shield Crush, so that our melee does even more damage while we have a void overshield, because we don't want to hit champions unless we have that overshield. So you can kind of see how all these buffs are coming together and stacking up that damage to make this build have a one hit melee. It's pretty lethal, and even without these, it's still pretty good to use as well. As for mods, you want to go with anything that will generate orbs of power easily and give you ability energy, ideally for your class ability or grenade, so things like utility kickstart mods are always handy, so you can get those overshields from the barricades more frequently. And for stats, you'd want to go with 100 resilience, discipline and strength to really max out this build. Ignore my 112 resilience, because that was literally my minimum resilience due to the armor pieces I had to set up with this build, so yeah, I need to farm out some more armor that doesn't have resilience to fix that. But anyway, this build is probably one of the best Titan builds out right now for the Void subclass this season, especially for melting champions instantly with your melee, and it is a build I'd really use in activities that have champions, so it makes it great in expert and master lost sectors, as well as nightfalls and grandmaster nightfalls or even raids. Honestly guys, give this build a try and let me know what you think of it down below. The dim link is down there as well, if you want to just directly copy the build like that. Otherwise, thank you all for tuning in and watching. I've been Divide, and until next time, peace.